Wake up, rise up, Mell B on the line. News, weather, truth, she delivers on time. Affirm your power, let the doubt unwind. Kickstart your soul, let your purpose shine. She don't just talk, she sparked the flame from 7 to 8. She runs the game, Jamaica to New Orleans and all the world. The vibe don't sleep. Mell B drop gems while the world counts sheep. No fluff, no cap, just facts and fire. Affirmation flow that lifts you higher. Wake up, rise up, Mell B on the line. News, weather, truth. She delivers.
Now, Grand Rising, my kings and queens. It's your girl Mell B, live on Lux Radio Network. It's Monday, February 2nd, and we are officially in the first full week of Black History Month. And what a way to start. We are recapping the historic night at the Grammys, where our culture was front and center. So grab your coffee, get the spirit right, and let's set the tone for the week of excellence. All right, our affirmation of the day is, and I read, today I stand on the shoulders of giants. I am the manifestation of my ancestors' wildest dreams, and I carry their strength in every room I enter. My potential is limitless, and my purpose is clear. All right, our word of the day is gargantuan, meaning very large in size or amount, or just gigantic. So in a sentence, the buzz surrounding the Grammy Awards last night was absolutely gargantuan, with fans debating the winners across every social media platform. All right, our urban slang word or phrase of the day is aura, meaning the specific vibe or energy a person radiates. In 2026 slang, it's often quantified, meaning plus 1,000 aura for something cool, or minus 5,000 aura for something embarrassing or an embarrassing moment. I don't know where they come up with these, but hey, that's what I guess the younger crowd is saying nowadays. All right, on to our news that we can use. All right, first up, we got the government shutdown and ICE tensions. The partial government shutdown continues as House Speaker Mike Johnson faces intense pressure over federal funding and the conduct of ICE agents. Tensions remain high following the detention and subsequent release of a 5-year-old child by federal agents. Next up, we have the Artemis 2 lunar mission launch. NASA is in the final stages of preparation for the Artemis 2 mission, which will send 4 astronauts, 3 Americans and 1 Canadian, on a 10-day journey around the far side of the moon, the first human moon mission in over 50 years. And last but not least, these Epstein files. The Justice Department has released a massive new trove of over 3 million documents and photos related to Jeffrey Epstein's investigation, triggering a wave of new scrutiny over high-profile associates and previous legal settlements. All right, our news city by city. We start off with New York. The Vision 2026 transit proposal is under public review, focusing on the expansion of congestion pricing to fund the modernization of the subway's century-old signaling system. New York's community event is the Lunar New Year Kickoff, a vibrant community festival in Manhattan's Chinatown, featuring traditional calligraphy workshops and tea ceremonies to ring in the year of the horse. Los Angeles. The city has officially opened its new Digital Equity Center in South LA, providing free tech training and high-speed internet access to thousands of residents. LA's community event of the day is the Disability Justice Storytelling, an evening of powerful narrative from disability advocates and artists at the Wyndham Museum in Culver City, starting at 5 p.m. this evening. Chicago. Following the National Day of Action protest, Chicago City Council is discussing a new civic oversight bill aimed at increasing transparency for federal local law enforcement partnerships. Chicago's community event today is the Chicago Auto Show Preview, a special community first look event at McCormick Place, showcasing the latest in hydrogen-powered and sustainable vehicle technology. Atlanta. Atlanta is hosting a regional summit on urban forest preservation, with local leaders debating new zoning laws to protect the city's famous tree canopy from aggressive development. Atlanta's community event is the Groundhog Day Social, a morning community breakfast at the Earl E. Sanders Family YMCA at Buckhead, featuring a Phil versus Phoenix weather prediction debate. Houston. The Houston Spaceport has announced a new partnership with private aerospace firms to develop a dedicated low Earth orbit logistics hub in Southeast Houston. Houston's community event of the day is the Sherwood Forest Fair Preview, a fantasy-themed community social at Magic Cauldron, featuring medieval history lessons and local artisan art displays. Washington, D.C. Foreign Minister Dr. Vivian Balakrishnan has arrived in D.C. for the Critical Minerals Ministerial, a high-level summit on securing global supply chains for the tech sector. Their community event is the Folger Shakespeare Library reopening, a public celebration and open house tour of the newly renovated historic library and gardens on Capitol Hill. Miami. The city is launching a new coral tech initiative using AI-driven underwater drones to monitor and restore the Florida Reef Tract. Miami's community event is the Street Stages Folk Fusion, a free live performance by the Lotus Collective on Flagler Street, blending traditional Caribbean folk with modern electric beats at 7 p.m. Tampa. Tampa's Hannah Avenue City Center project has officially moved into phase 2, which includes a new public park and community-focused retail spaces. Tampa's community event is the Cigar City Heritage Tour, a guided historic walk through Ybor City, focusing on the architecture and social history of the district's founding families. Newport Richey. Good morning, Dad. The planning for Chasco Fiesta is in high gear as the city officials approve a new Riverwalk art series to run alongside the festival. Newport Richey community event today is Sims Park Community Yoga, a free mindful morning session in Sims Park to promote wellness and community connection starting at 9 a.m. Milwaukee. Good morning, family. Milwaukee is being highlighted by national urban planners for its successful 15-minute neighborhood pilot program in the West Side. Milwaukee's community event today is the Milwaukee Winter Farmers Market, a community gathering at the Greenhouse Annex featuring local artisans, indoor grown produce, and live acoustic music. Vancouver. The BC government is officially launched the Rental Protection Fund 2.0, allowing nonprofits to buy aging apartment buildings to keep them affordable. Vancouver's community event today is the Lunar New Year at Dr. Sun Yat-sen Garden, a cultural festival featuring traditional lion dances and a Lantern of Hope exhibit in Vancouver's historic Chinatown. Toronto. The Toronto Public Library has announced a major digital expansion, making all city-funded research and historical archives available through a new AI-powered search tool. Toronto's community event is the Design TO Future of Living, a series of community workshops in the Junction District focused on sustainable urban design and co-living spaces. Bless up, Jamaica. Kingston. Reggae Month 2026 officially kicks off today. The Ministry of Culture is focusing this year on the economic power of the beat, looking at global copyright protections for Jamaican artists. Kingston's community event today is the Reggae Month opening ceremony, a public celebration at 56 Hope Road, featuring live tributes to the legends of the genre and unveiling of a new mural. Montego Bay. The city is hosting the Love Jam Spring Break Summit, focusing on high-end tourism and the I Will Be There campaign to boost international visitors. Montego Bay's community event is the International Conference on Education. Final day of the Global Summit at the Montego Bay Convention Center with a public expedition on the 21st century classrooms. Ocho Rios. Following the Rebel Salute Festival, local environmentalists and business owners are meeting to discuss a permanent ITAL and green certification for North Coast dining. Ocho Rios community event today is the St. Anne's Bay Heritage Market, a special community market day celebrating local agricultural and traditional Jamaican crafts. Negril. The Negril Coral Reef Preservation Society has received a grant to expand its Blue Economy education program to local high schools. Negril's community event today is the Roots Bamboo Fundraiser, a live acoustic performance at Roots Bamboo Beach Resort to raise money for the Negril Community Clinic renovation. Cayman Islands. The Cayman Islands government has introduced a new digital nomad residency tier specifically aimed at green tech researchers and sustainability consultants. Cayman Islands event of the day is the Festival Green Wellness Hike, a guided community walk through the Festival Green Nature Trails, focusing on local biodiversity and stress reduction. Nassau, Bahamas. The Bahamas is seeing a record surge in agritourism, with several new organic farm-to-table resorts opening on family islands. Nassau's community event today is the ACFE Ethics Seminar, a community workshop for young professionals in Nassau focusing on financial integrity and the future of Bahamian business. Nigeria. The Tech Revolution Africa Summit in Lagos concludes today with the signing of the multi-nation agreement to streamline cross-border digital payments. Nigeria's community event is the Lagos Innovation Showcase, a public exposition at the Landmark Event Center featuring the top 50 Nigerian tech startups of 2026. Ghana. Ghana is celebrating the successful launch of its Quantum Horizons Research Hub, aimed at making Accra a global center for quantum computing. Ghana's community event is the World MTD Day Awareness, a community health fair in Ho featuring educational floats and free clinic screenings to mark World Neglected Tropical Diseases Day. The Netherlands. The Dutch Parliament is debating the Nature Restoration Law, which will mandate a significant increase in urban green spaces across all major cities by 2023. Netherlands community event is the Eindhoven Design Mixer, a social event at Bliksem Centrum for local artists to collaborate on sustainable public art projects. Vietnam. General Secretary To Lum has been re-elected, signaling a continuation of Vietnam's bamboo diplomacy, and it focuses on digital and green transitions. Vietnam's community event of the day is Hanoi Tet Reunion Market, a massive trade union market in Ho Chi Minh City and Hanoi, providing traditional Lunar New Year gifts and food to thousands of workers. And France. French universities are hosting a nationwide symposium on the ethics of AI in education, debating the balance between technical aid and human-led instruction. Community event in France today is the Societal Transition Debate, a final public forum at the ESCP Montparnasse, an auditorium in Paris, focusing on environmental policy and institutional reform. All right, on to our weather. New York, cloudy today with a high of 36 and a low of 20. Los Angeles, sunny today with a high of 72 and a low of 50. Chicago, cloudy today with a high of 29 and a low of 22. Atlanta, sunny today with a high of 48 and a low of 24. Houston, cloudy today with a high of 68 and a low of 38. Washington, D.C., sunny today with a high of 36 and a low of 22. Miami, sunny today with a high of 57 and a low of 39. Tampa, sunny today with a high of 54 and a low of 33. Newport Richey, Sunny today with a high of 50 and a low of 35. Milwaukee, cloudy today with a high of 27 and a low of 16. Vancouver, light rain today with a high of 48 and a low of 45. Toronto, cloudy today with a high of 23 and a low of 5. Kingston, mostly cloudy today with a high of 69 and a low of 61. Montego Bay, mostly cloudy today with a high of 70 and a low of 66. Ocho Rios, mostly cloudy today with a high of 66 and a low of 62. Negril, mostly cloudy today with a high of 72 and a low of 68. Cayman Islands, mostly cloudy today with a high of 72 and a low of 69. Bahamas, sunny today with a high of 62 and a low of 55. Nigeria, scattered thunderstorms today with a high of 88 and a low of 78. Ghana, mostly sunny today with a high of 83 and a low of 78. Netherlands, partly sunny today with a high of 42 and a low of 27. Hanoi, Vietnam, cloudy today with a high of 66 and a low of 55. And Paris, cloudy today with a high of 48 and a low of 38. All right, on to our sports. As we all know, if you haven't been living under a rock, the Super Bowl will be on Sunday the 8th on Fox between the Patriots and the Seahawks. All right, NBA scores from yesterday. It was a busy Sunday on the court with some high-scoring blowouts and some tight defense battles. First up, we got the Pistons over the Nets, 130-77. That was a 53-point blowout. We have the Heat over the Bulls, 134-91. The Celtics over the Bucks, 107-79. The Knicks over the Lakers, 112-100. The Wizards over the Kings, 116-112. The Raptors over the Jazz, 107-100. The Clippers over the Suns, 117-93. The Thunder over the Nuggets, 121-111. The Spurs over the Magic, 112-103. And the Cavaliers over the Trailblazers, 130-111. In the NBA tonight, we have the Pelicans and the Hornets at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Peacock. We have the Rockets and the Pacers also at 8 p.m. on Peacock. The Timberwolves and the Grizzlies will be at 8:30 on Peacock and FDSNX. And we also have the 76ers and the Clippers at 11 p.m. on Peacock and NBCS on PH. So Mondays in the 2026 season are Peacock exclusive nights for national broadcast. So you'll need a subscription to Peacock to stream these games. All right, on to soccer, Jamaican Premier League. Yesterday there was a big upset. I'm assuming it was Mell B over Molins 3-0. So MBU continues their dominant run, becoming the first team to hit 40 goals this season. Next up, we have Portmore United over Cavalier 1-0. A massive result as Portmore shuts out the defending champions. Next, we had Harborview over Tivoli 2-2. Well, it wasn't really over. It was actually a draw. So that game was 2-2. It was a draw. So, and we had Mount Pleasant over Chapelton Maroons 2-0. Racing United over Spanish Town 3-1. And Waterhouse over Treasure Beach 1-0. In soccer today, there will be Arnett Gardens versus Dunby Holden at 7:30 p.m. on Sportsmax, and Waterhouse versus Treasure Beach at 7 p.m. on Sportsmax and TVJ Sports. All right, on to our daily feature, which is Motivational Monday. Today, our spotlight is the 100-year vision, the origin of Black History Month. So most people know that February is Black History Month, but did you know that 2026 marks the exact 100th anniversary of this movement? It all started in 1926 A man named Dr. Carver G. Woodson, the son of formerly enslaved parents and only the second African American to earn a PhD from Harvard, decided to silence an American history books decided that the silence in American history books was no longer acceptable. He launched Negro History Week during the second week of February. So why that week? Because it encompassed the birthdays of Abraham Lincoln and Frederick Douglass, two men whose lives were pillars of the Black freedom struggle. Woodson wasn't trying to give us a few facts. He was trying to save our lives. He famously said, and I quote, "If a race has no history, it stands in danger to be exterminated," end quote. He understood that when you know your worth and your lineage, you can't be easily broken. For 50 years, it stayed a week. It wasn't until 1976, this nation's bicentennial, that President Gerald Ford officially recognized Black History Month. But the motivation for us this Monday is Dr. Woodson didn't wait for a law to pass or for a school board to agree with him. He saw a void. He did the research and he built a movement that has now lasted a century. So as you head into your week, ask yourself, what void are you meant to fill? What legacy are you building that will still be talked about 100 years from now? Stand tall today because you are the history someone else will be studying tomorrow. All right, on to our book club where we are still reading The Miseducation of the Negro by Carter G. Woodson. Our chapter today is chapter 16, The New Program. So after 15 chapters of telling us what's wrong, Woodson finally starts telling us how to fix it. This chapter is about shifting from intimidation to originality. Woodson explains that our current education is a copycat system. He says we've been trained to be novices in someone else's world rather than masters in our own. Woodson's perspective here is sharp. He believes that true education must develop the originality of the student. He's frustrated with the highly educated who are afraid to be different. He notes that we often discount our own potential just to maintain a normal equality with people who don't even have our best interests at heart. So how do we apply this in 2026? We have to audit our influences. Ask yourself, am I building this business or chasing a career because it's my vision, or because I've been trained to believe that this is what success looks like? Woodson challenges us to stop waiting for a seat at the table, at someone else's table, and start building a new program right where we are. Today, prioritize one original idea that belongs solely to you. Don't be a copy, be a blueprint. All right, on to our cause of the day. Today's cause of the day is trigeminal neuralgia. Trigeminal neuralgia are rare but extremely painful neurological condition that is called the suicide disease because of the severity of the pain it causes. The trigeminal nerve is responsible for carrying sensation from your face to your brain. In people with this condition, even the lightest touch, brushing your teeth, washing your face, a breeze, or putting on makeup can trigger sudden electric shock-like pain that can last from seconds to minutes. Trigeminal neuralgia is most commonly caused by blood vessel pressing against the nerve near the brainstem, but it can also be linked to multiple sclerosis, tumors, or nerve damage. It affects women more often than men and usually appears after age 50, though younger adults have experienced it too. So diagnosis is based on symptoms, neurological exams, and MRI imaging to rule out other causes. Treatment options include anti-seizure medications that calm nerve firings, nerve blocks, and in severe cases, microvascular decompression surgery, a procedure that relieves pressure on the nerve and can dramatically reduce pain. There's no known prevention, but early diagnosis is key to improving quality of life. Many people suffer in silence because the condition is misunderstood or misdiagnosed as dental pain. So if you or someone you know experiences sudden severe facial pain, don't ignore it. Talk to a neurologist. A good resource to find out more about this is Facial Pain Association. You can look that up on the internet or just Google it. All right, today in history, first up we have in 1848, the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo was signed. The U.S.-Mexican War officially ends as Mexico cedes vast territory, including California, Nevada, Utah, and parts of Colorado, Arizona, and New Mexico. This treaty reshapes the North American map and accelerates westward expansion. In 1990, South Africa lifts ban on the African National Congress. After 30 years of suppression, the ANC is legalized, marking a major turning point in the fight against apartheid and paving the way for Nelson Mandela's release 9 days later. And in 1882, James Boyce was born. The Irish novelist behind Ulysses and Dubliners is born in Dublin. His groundbreaking writing style influences modern literature worldwide. African American history. In 1948, Truman orders desegregation of the U.S. military. Executive Order 9981 begins the process of integrating the armed forces. Black service members finally gain equal opportunities to serve, train, and advance after decades of discrimination. In 1960, Greensboro sit-in movement expands nationwide. Following the February 1st sit-in, students across the South organized coordinated protests at segregated lunch counters, marking one of the largest youth-led civil rights actions in U.S. history. And in 1976, Black History Month receives national recognition. President Gerald Ford urges Americans to honor the often neglected accomplishments of Black Americans, officially elevating Carter Woodson's Negro History Week into a month-long national observance. All right, our African-American scientists and inventors. First up, we have Alexander Miles, automatic elevator doors in 1887. Miles patented the mechanism that allows elevator doors to open and close automatically, preventing deadly shaft accidents. His innovation is still used in modern elevator systems worldwide. Next, we have Dr. Marie Daly, first Black woman PhD in chemistry in 1947. Daly's groundbreaking research linked high cholesterol to heart disease, laying the foundation for today's cardiovascular science and dietary guidelines. And Miriam E. Benjamin. Benjamin invented a chair with a signaling system that allowed customers to request service, a design that inspired early versions of airplane call buttons in 1888. All right, back on to our Back to Roots segment. This segment is where we take a moment to reconnect with who we are, where we come from, and the powerful legacy that shaped African American culture long before we ever touched American soil. Every day we shine a light on the languages, traditions, spiritual systems, kingdoms, and cultural practices of Africa, the pieces of our identity that history tried to bury, but our spirit never forgot. From the Yoruba and Akan to the Dinka, Zulu, and the ancient wisdom of Kemet. We explore the roots that will show up in our music, our food, our faith, our family structure, and everyday rhythm. Back to Roots is about education, elevation, and restoration, giving us the knowledge to understand our past, the pride to stand in our present, and the power to shape our future. This is where African American culture begins and where we reclaim our story for ourselves. So first up today, we have Yoruba Ifa deviation system, Nigeria and Benin. Ifa is one of the oldest and most sophisticated deviation systems in the world. Guided by the deity Orunmila, the Orisha of wisdom, priests known as Babalawo interpret sacred verses called Odu Ifa. These verses contain thousands of stories, proverbs, and teachings that guide moral decisions, healing, and community harmony. Next, we have the Akan ancestor veneration in Ghana. The Akan believe that ancestors known as Nazmafa remain active members of the family after death. They protect the living, offer guidance, and maintain balance. Libations, prayers, and festivals like Akasta honor these ancestors and reinforce community identity. And last, we have Dogon cosmology, a Mali. The Dogon hold one of Africa's most complex cosmologies. Their teachings describe the star Sirius B, knowledge documented long before modern telescopes. Their creation stories center on the Nomo ancestral spirits associated with water, or order, and the origins of humanity. All right, on to Down the Rabbit Hole. I wanted to actually do today give you some kind of update on those Epstein files, but it's so much that I will have to wait till another day. So today's spotlight is, how did human language even begin? What was the first word ever spoken, and why did we start speaking at all? So today we're going down the rabbit hole of human language, one of the greatest mysteries in science. We know how languages change, how they spread, and how they died, but we still don't know exactly how language began. Most scientists agree that early humans, like Homo erectus, didn't have full language, but they had proto-language, which were simple sounds, gestures, and vocal calls. But something happened around 70,000 years ago that changed everything. Humans suddenly began creating symbols, art, rituals, and complex speech. One theory says language began with mothers and babies, soothing sounds that evolved into communication. Another theory says language came from gesture, and one later moved into the voice. But the most fascinating theory is that language evolved because humans needed to cooperate, plan, and share knowledge across generations. Some of the world's oldest surviving language features come from Africa. The Khoisan people of southern Africa speak languages with click consonants, believed by some linguists to be among the earliest human speech sounds. These clicks may be echoes of the first human voices. Language didn't just help us communicate, it helped us imagine, remember, and create culture. It allowed humans to pass down stories, warnings, and wisdom. It turned survival into civilization. So, every language on earth, from Mandarin to Swahili to English, may trace back to a single ancestral tongue spoken in Africa tens of thousands of years ago. Humanity didn't just evolve in Africa. Our voices did too. All right, on to our fact or fiction. First claim we have is the US government once erased an entire town from the map. Is this fact or fiction? They say it's fact. In 1917, the town of Vanport, Oregon was wiped out after a catastrophic flood. Officials had long ignored warnings about a weak levee system. Sound familiar? When the levee broke, the town, home of 40,000 people, including one of the largest Black communities in the Pacific Northwest, disappeared in a single day. So Vanport's destruction is a reminder of how communities often bear the brunt of environmental neglect and political indifference. Broken levee, huh? Okay. All right, second claim up is the Great Wall of China is visible from space with the naked eye. This is fiction. Astronauts have repeatedly confirmed that the Great Wall is not visible from space without magnification. It's too narrow and blends into the natural landscape around it. So this myth shows how easily fun facts become accepted truth, even when experts say otherwise. I'm going somewhere with this, y'all. And the last one, ancient Africans sailed to the Americas before Columbus. Now, this, everywhere I've looked, it says it's unproven, but it's possible. There is no definitive proof, but there are intriguing clues. West African ocean-worthy ships, Olmec stone heads with African features, and documented transatlantic currents that make the journey feasible. So it challenges the Eurocentric narrative that exploration began with Columbus. So with these things, these fun facts or these claims today, I just want y'all to think what you're seeing now on social media and in the news, what they're showing you. But nonetheless, you still need to do your own research, go down your own rabbit hole, because things that are being shown and said are not true, or they're contradictive. All right, on to our tech tip of the day. Voice to text legacy journaling. So since this is a talk only show, we are celebrating 100 of years of Black history. We need to focus on the power of the oral tradition. Our elders, even we ourselves, often have stories that never get written down because writing feels like a chore. In 2026, our phone is a professional scribe. This tip turns your spoken memories into a written book for your descendants. So how to use it? Open a cloud document. Open Google Docs or Microsoft Word on your smartphone. Next, find the microphone. Instead of typing, look for the microphone icon on your keyboard. On iPhones, it's usually in the bottom right. On Androids, it's often above the keys. Next, the 5-minute prompt. Set a timer for 5 minutes. Use this prompt. Tell the story of how you felt when you landed your first big job or bought your first home. So use that 5 minutes, say what you need to say. Autosave. Because you're using a cloud app, your words are instantly typed and saved. You can do this for once a week, and by the end of the year, you have written an autobiography ready to be printed for your family. So I thought that was interesting. All right, on to our finance tip of the day is the pay yourself first automation. Automate your savings before you ever even see your paycheck. Most people wait until the end of the month to save what's left over because nothing usually is left. But by automating, you treat your savings like a mandatory bill that must be paid. In other words, pay yourself first. You ain't work for 2 weeks, a week, all, hard work for nothing. Pay yourself something every week. So how to use this? Log into your payroll provider like a ADP or Workday or your bank app. Set up a direct deposit split to send a specific dollar amount, even if it's just $25, to a separate high-yielding savings account that is not connected to your debit card. If you don't see it, you won't spend it, right? All right, on to our fun fact of the day. The original Groundhog Day. Fact. Before the groundhog became the star of February 2nd, the day was known as Candlemas, and it involved a different weather predicting animal in various cultures, including a badger and even a bear. In the 19th century folklore, it was believed that if a hibernating animal saw its shadow on this day, winter would persist. While the groundhog eventually got the job in Pennsylvania, different cultures used whatever animal was most common. It's a reminder that humans have been looking for signs of spring for thousands of years. So our fun holiday of the day, speaking of Groundhog Day, is Groundhog Day. So today is all about, let me get this animal's name right. Punxsutawney. Punxsutawney. All them letters for just that. Punxsutawney Phil. So it says if he pops out of his burrow in Pennsylvania and he sees his shadow, we get 6 more weeks of winter. And FYI, he did see his shadow this morning. All right, on to our daily quotes. And I read, and I kind of said this earlier, Quote, if a race has no history, if it has no worthwhile tradition, it becomes a neglectable factor in the thought of the world, and it stands in danger of being exterminated, end quote. Of course, that was quoted by Dr. Carter Woodson, the father of Black history. He was a historian, author, and founder of the Association for the Study of African American Life and History. Woodson is emphasizing that history is more than just names and dates. It's a survival tool. Without a sense of your own legacy and contributions to humanity, you become invisible in the global conversation and easier for others to dismiss or mistreat. All right, on to our music and entertainment, where we are going to celebrate the heavy hitters. Last night was a massive night for Black excellence in music at the 68th Annual Grammy Awards. So first up, we got, of course, Mr. Kendrick Lamar, the night's biggest winner with 5 awards, including Record of the Year, Rap Album, Best Performance, and Best Rap Song. We also have SZA, won for Record of the Year and Best Rap Song alongside Kendrick Lamar for their collaboration Luther. Tyler, the Creator, won the Best Album Cover Award for Chromacopia. Clips, Pusha T, and Malice, while they lost Best Rap Album to Kendrick, they were heavily favorites and featured in the night's rap celebrations for the album Let God Sort 'Em Out. And then we also had Shabuzi won Best Country Solo Performance for a bar song, Tipsy. And there was Layla Hathaway won Best Traditional R&B Performance for No Lie, featuring Michael McDonald. Leon Thomas, while he lost Best New Artist to Olivia Dean, he took home Best R&B Album for his project Mutt. And Robert Glasper won Best R&B Performance for Anytime, featuring India Ari. Globally, there was Tyla. While technically South African, she is a major figure in the global Black music diaspora and won Best African Music Performance for Push to Start. We also had Angelique Kidjo won Best Global Music Performance for Jerusalem. Hopefully I said that right. And we also had Chris Bowers, though he lost Best Score to Ludwig Göransson. His work on The Wild Robot was celebrated as a high point for Black composers in film. So, statement and question. Kendrick Lamar just passed Jay-Z for the most Grammys in hip-hop history, 33 total. Is Kendrick officially the GOAT, or does Jay-Z still hold crown because of his business empire? That's a good question. All right, on to celebrity gossip. It's all about Kendrick Lamar. Kendrick Lamar was the man of the hour last night. While the trophies are being counted, the gossip is all about his reported interaction or lack of with certain OVO-affiliated artists in the building. Kendrick entered the night with 9 nominations for GNX and Luther. A federal judge officially tossed Drake's defamation lawsuit against UMG over Not Like Us just days before the ceremony, making Kendrick's victory lap even sweeter. So the energy at the Grammys was thick enough to cut a knife. Kendrick walked in with 9 noms and a legal win in his pocket. No drama, just dominance. Plus 10,000 aura for the way he handled the room. All right, on to our celebrity birthdays. Today we got the trap god himself, Gucci Mane is 46. The Super Bowl champ and Green Bay Packer legend, Donald Driver, is 51. We also have Southside, who is 37, the co-founder of 808 Mafia. And OMB Peasy is 29, Mobile, Alabama native who brought new soul to the rap game. All right. In our lifestyle segment today, our soul food recipe is Cajun turkey wings. And our drink of the day is strawberry mint detox water. Men's health tip today is add magnesium rich foods like spinach, almonds, pumpkin seeds to reduce stress and improve muscle recovery. Men's fashion tip of the day is a clean white sneaker elevates any casual outfit and pairs well with jeans, joggers, and chinos. Women's health beauty tip today is scalp exfoliation once a week. Removes buildup, boosts circulation, and promotes hair growth. Women's fashion tip of the day is monochrome winter looks, all black, all cream, or all brown. Create a sleek, elongated silhouette. Our household chore of the day is clean the dishwasher filter. Food particles and grease build up in the filter, causing odors and cloudy dishes. Remove the bottom rack, twist out the filter, rinse with hot water, and scrub with a toothbrush. All right, women, our auto mechanics 101 for today is how to check your brake fluid. Locate the brake fluid reservoir under the hood, usually labeled and near the back of the engine bay. The back. Don't mistake it for the checking your oil. The fluid should be between the min and the max lines and yellow, light yellow. Low or dark brake fluid can signal leaks or worn brakes. So check that. Also, our relationship tips for couples: practice reflective listening. Repeat what your partner said before responding. It builds emotional safety. In friendships, sending a thinking of you text to someone you haven't spoken to, wow. Hint, hint, someone listening. And family, create a 10-minute evening check-in to strengthen communication. All right, on to our Before They Were Legends. I spotlight today Miss Shirley Chisholm. Before she became the first Black woman elected to Congress and the first Black woman to run for president, Shirley Chisholm was a Brooklyn girl raised by her Barbadian grandmother. Her grandmother ran a strict household: early mornings, chores, discipline, and excellence. Shirley later said those years in Barbados shaped her backbone, the one she would need to challenge America's political system. In school, she was brilliant. Teachers pushed her toward leadership, but society pushed her towards silence. She refused. She studied sociology, became an educator, and fought for childcare access and fair housing long before she ever stepped into Congress. Before she was a legend, she was a girl who learned early that the world wasn't built for her. So she decided to rebuild it. And she did, unbothered and unapologetically. All right, for our daily horoscopes, where we start with Aries. Aries, a spark of motivation hits you today. Use it to start something you've been avoiding. Your lucky numbers today are 3, 11, and 27. Taurus, your patience pays off. A slow-moving situation finally shifts in your favor. Your lucky numbers today are 6, 14, and 22. Gemini, conversations open new doors. Say yes to networking and new connections. Your lucky numbers today, Gemini, are 5, 18, and 33. Cancer, focus on emotional clarity. A small boundary makes a big difference. Your lucky numbers today are 2, 9, and 28. Leo, your confidence is magnetic today. Step into the spotlight. It's yours. Lucky numbers for you today are 1, 17, and 30. Virgo, organization brings peace. Clean one small area and watch your energy shift. Your lucky numbers today are 4, 12, and 26. Libra, harmony returns to a relationship. A simple conversation clears the air. Lucky numbers for you are 7, 15, and 29. Scorpio, your intuition is sharp. Trust the feelings you can't explain. Your lucky numbers today are 8, 19, and 31. Sagittarius, adventure calls. Even a small change in routine sparks joy. Your lucky numbers today are 10, 21, and 34. Capricorn, a financial opportunity appears. Review details before committing. Your lucky numbers today are 13, 20, and 32. Aquarius, creativity flows easily today. Capture your ideas before they fade. Your lucky numbers today are 11, 23, and 35. And Pisces, rest is productive. Slow down and let your spirit recharge. Your lucky numbers today are 9, 16, and 25. Grand Rising, Grand Rising. Also, right now, I would like to thank our sponsors, Bello Burn Hot Sauce, Bold Taste, Big Kick. Bello Burn keeps the city spicy. RAS Herbals, Natural Remedies, Real Results. RAS Herbals keeps the community grounded. Colorane Candles, Soft Light, Strong Energy. Colorane Candles elevates every space. And Universal Madness, official sponsor of the Chief and Go Show. Style with a statement. Universal Madness keeps the culture fit. All right, family, that's how we kick off a brand new week with peace, purpose, and a little bit of me. So until tomorrow morning, this your girl Mell B saying stay looking fly, stay grounded in your own truth, and don't let nobody tilt your crown. Period.